welcome to the Mask Leadership Leaders Connect episode 017, where leaders create more leaders. My name is Prakash Sharma, founder director of Bija Training, as well as the author of the book, The Mask Leadership. The Mask Leadership community is built with a specific objective of creating 1,000 plus leaders, wherein week after week, every Wednesday, we invite top management leader from a corporate company to our community to share their success stories and life experiences, which will help all our working professionals as well as the business people to grow up in their leadership career and constantly have the mindset of the top management leaders. So let me share with you all that we are currently on the mute mode. We have kept all on mute mode, and we will be giving opportunity to share and talk with our guest today, Mr. Pandian Parniappan. And the topic of the day, I'm sure we all are aware of it, crucial conversations. And as we move on to the crucial conversations, what all we will be sharing with you. One more point, we are also live on YouTube and it's been recorded for our internal purposes. So let me quickly explain you about what Mr. Pandian Parniappan, our guest for today, is. So a quick personal background, and then I will be moving on to his professional experiences through a video. So Mr. Pandian Parniappan, who is our guest today, he is married to Ms. Sudha, and she's a homemaker, and he has one daughter, and she's also doing a fashion designing. And Mr. Pandian Parniappan loves, in fact, interacting with people, training, and coaching, in fact. And these are the points which, in fact, he likes. Very importantly, in fact, he's also from Chennai and very, very lovable person who interacts with all people very lovingly. So much more to know about Mr. Pandian Parniappan through his professional experience, which are the companies he has helped in his work. We are going to see now through a video of Mr. Pandian Parniappan, and here is the video for him. Excellent. So kindly type in the chat box, welcome Mr. Pandian Parniappan, and he is here for us on the screen. Thank you very much, sir, for turning on the camera as well as unmuting yourself. It was a timely one.
Hi, welcome, good evening.
Yes.
Over to you.
Yes,
I think we'll
good
start
evening.
the session.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's been our pleasure that you have been here, and we all have our community members here, as well as few are visitors who have come here for the first time as well. So let's start off with our discussion today, Mr. Pandian Parniappan, which is crucial conversation is the discussion which we have today, and how crucial conversation, what is crucial conversation, we will be going in detail. But the first question I have for you. So we understand that each one of us undergoes a lot of challenging situations, and there are, in fact, every human being undergoes challenging situations. But is it possible to share one of the challenging situations where such crucial conversations you had happened or from your side you've experienced? So before that, what is crucial conversation? You can always share it with the audience as well as then you can share one of your experiences.
Sure. Today's discussion has actually, been structured from a book called Crucial Conversations.
Yes.
So crucial conversations. So what is a crucial conversation? According to the book, as well as from my experience of managing people, handling a variety of things at home as well as work, three conditions exist to have a crucial conversation. When there are opposing opinions, when the opinions are directly opposites to each other. One. Two is you might have opposing opinion, but each one's stake is very high. The stakes are definitely high. So you don't want to give in to each other. The third is you're very emotional about it. When these three conditions exist, we call it's a right, time, place, everything that, okay, there is a crucial conversation happening. And how do you handle that?
Sure.
So that's the right scenario for a crucial conversation. For example,
yes,
at work, we go through a crucial conversation once every year.
Mm-hmm.
When we have the performance appraisal cycle.
Yeah.
You believe that you've done extremely well, and you want one of the best ratings. So let's say this company has rating S being the best and SA, B, C, D, and you expect that you've done really well, and you expect an S, whereas the boss is actually talking about giving you a B or a C.
Sure.
So opposing opinions, because you're looking at an S, whereas the boss is looking at a B. Stakes are high because but that's going to decide what you're going to take home, your positions, your promotions, everything for the coming years. And you're pretty emotional about it because you said, I've been working for this one whole year, and here is a guy who's possibly trying to put me down. Very often, executives face this as a crucial conversation.
True. So, in fact, rightly told, with one of the excellent example which you had given, Mr. Pandyan Panapan, that appraisals is one of the common situation for a crucial conversation happening. Rightly told. So let me get into the next question. In fact, I'm sure in such a crucial conversation as one, let's take appraisal itself, one has to really be open, and you should be using certain techniques, in fact, to talk to the superior as well as talk to the stakeholders. So what could be that technique in the crucial conversation? How do they speak? If there are any and live examples you would like to demonstrate, to share, that would be really, really grateful for this community.
Yeah. Easier said that one is, do I recognize that I'm into a crucial conversation?
Right.
Most times when you enter into a crucial conversation, what happens is, your emotion kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And when your emotion kicks in, the blood to the logical brain doesn't flow. Mm-hmm. What flows is the blood flows down to the reptilian part of your brain. And that's why, you have your fist getting tight, you might grind your teeth, your face goes red, especially, somebody's fair like you, and you can make out this guy is angry.
Oh.
And when somebody is angry, your logical brain doesn't work.
True.
And that leads to, either you go silent, especially let's say if it's a performance appraisal with your boss, you're the team member, you go silent, but you don't say what you want to say.
Mm.
Because that guy is the boss, and I'm sorry for being gender biased, that guy's the boss. So you possibly get into a silent mode, and you listen to what he has to say. You try to possibly wriggle in certain things. But at the end of the day, when you come out of the conversation, is where you burst out.
Oh.
So your emotion kicks in, and the blood goes down to the reptilian brain, and as a resultant, the conversation does not lead on to something which will, which will establish what you actually wanted.
True.
Because you tend not to listen. In fact, in Tamil, you say, Atharakaranaku buddhi matte, which typically means that your mind doesn't work.
Mm.
Mind tends to believe something which has not even happened.
Correct.
Which favors you, and as a resultant, the crucial conversation breakdown happens. So either you might possibly get into a violent mode of saying, no, I did right, this, and then the boss comes in and says, no, he gets violent. Or possibly you could be silent and say, okay, yeah, you tell whatever you want to say. I'm anyway going to finally, sign off to B or a C. Okay. So I give you an opportunity. So you don't actually have the conversation of what you're supposed to have.
Wonderful. It was excellently told. Either you get into a violent mode or a silent mode. That's a very nice phrase to put it. Where that's what we need to really think about ourselves. Am I really emotional, or am I having the conversation? It's very, very crucial. So one typical example at home, is it possible to take where such crucial conversation at home? Do you feel we will have, Mr. Pandey?
So I'll go a little one step before I get to the example. Maybe I could, try to even help people understand that leaders, leaders are aware that they're entering into crucial conversation.
Correct.
Because most times what happens is, things don't tell us and say, okay, now I'm going to have a crucial conversation. It could be just a more a friendly chat, and then you suddenly see things turn crucial. So you're not actually prepared.
True.
The truth is, leaders are aware consciously that, hey, I am getting a crucial conversation. So they use various methods, over a period of time, experience of understanding that. For example, I had a boss called Muralidhar Rao when I used to work with NIS. This gentleman is conscious when he is, entering the crucial conversation. So he actually has told the team members, that's told me and a few of us working there, saying that whenever I count down from 10, don't be next to me. Just disappear.
Okay.
And then maybe, I'll come back and, work around on that. And it's happened that, when he counts down, we just disappear. And after about half an hour or so, he calls us into his cabin, and then we start having a discussion. And then he actually says, what was worrying me, very high, and I got really pissed off, was this particular thing. And I didn't want to share at that point of time because I knew that, I'm emotionally kicked in. There could be some logics which you guys have, maybe I could be missing out on. And as a result, the relationships were healthy. We were able to get, a very, very, result-focused discussions and a variety of things achieved.
And that's an excellent experience you shared, Mr. Pandyan. As in, when the leader's role is to analyze our own self and know that when I am emotional and when I am under emotional state, it's my responsibility as a leader to keep communicated to my subordinates with the cues. The cues what your superior Muralidharan has used is counting of 10 to 1. And if he counts, that's a signal for you guys. Oh,
absolutely.
That's really a tremendous.
and as a leader, you should also know, is there somebody's emotion is kicking in? Can you pick up cues?
True.
For example, when I'm just sharing example, there was one gentleman sharing, I exactly know when my boss is going through emotional stress. I asked him, how do you know that? He says, in a meeting, he always comes in with a bottle of water. And when he is emotionally stressed, I've seen him, he keeps gulping it. The bottle is almost over within about less than 15 minutes. This has been the observation. And fortunately, since we were all working in one single organization, we actually figured out who the boss was. We went and asked him, this is what has been shared by your team. Is that true? He said, yeah. I actually drink a lot of water while I'm emotionally stressed. I actually want to burst out, but I control it by drinking water. And I asked him, why did he choose water? So then he says, water is a neutralizer, because there are chemicals which actually get generated when you're emotionally high, and water neutralizes that. That is his way of possibly trying to neutralize and manage his emotions. But the best part is his team members have picked up the signals. So they actually know the boss is stressed, and maybe have the conversations, maybe move out, step out, take a break, come back, and have conversations, so that there's a great teamwork which actually happens. I mean, there are absolute true scenarios which actually have happened in my past organizations. And so one is being a leader. Are you aware of yourself? Two is being a leader. people who are in front of you, is there a change in emotion? And are you able to pick up those signals and maybe bring them into the conversation? Because maybe if you're having a team meeting, there could be somebody who's, you're able to find out, is emotionally somewhere disturbed. Can you possibly check back in terms of what is that which is disturbing this person? Is there something which a person wants to share and is not feeling comfortable sharing? Maybe sometimes they say, boss, not here, boss. I'm not very comfortable sharing in this forum. You say, okay, fair enough. Is there something which I can do? So maybe you might possibly take him out of the room. I understand, and then maybe bring him back. Or maybe you might make him comfortable. No issues here. I think we are more having a discussion and make comfortable so that you create a safe environment for the person, so that the person shares what they have to share without being, mentally threatened. So that you actually carry on the conversation. It doesn't become a silence violence, because when people get emotional, they get into silence or violence. So you've actually figured it out that this person wants to say something but feels threatened, and as a result, you possibly bring that person, create the right environment for the person to contribute to the whole discussion. I mean, those are very key things which one could possibly look into the whole thing.
Wonderful. That's excellently told, as which is more of identifying the cues. So one is identifying my own self, whether I'm emotional, and two is about the other person, whether he or she is emotional, and am I able to get the cues? So that's all more about the observations what we gain. Great, great. Wonderfully told. So maybe also have one more question, in fact, which we have. Now that it's more about how do you think? Is it more about a past or a future? Where do you think the crucial conversation generally happens? And do we talk more about the past, or should we talk more about the future? Or how do we need to actually respond? See, I am able to aware that I'm able to see that the customer is there in front of me. Let's say a customer, for example, and he may be asking me questions X, Y, Z. However, should I be able to speak about the past or future, or how do I need to proceed forward to interact with him in a crucial conversation?
So one thing in a crucial conversation is most times, managers do identify emotions of the other person, disturbing emotions of the other person. But what happens is they address more at the surface rather than having the conversation which you're supposed to have.
Sure.
For example, maybe I'll take a personal example. Though this example could be a little gender biased, but more from a manufacturing setup, you found that people who work in manufacturing, men especially, have more of their spouses as homemakers, which is more factual. I mean, the data to so what happens is, let's say these men go back home, and and let's say this guy loves cricket, or maybe loves watching news. So the guy works, has lots of tiring work there, goes home, and while he enters, he sees things, thrown all over the place, a little bit here and there. So he, comes with a little murmur, why is this things, things are not kept in order. And then she's watching some, drama which is going across. And then you just pick up the remote and change the channel and watch. Let's say if there's cricket, you possibly watch cricket. And she gets really annoyed, and she just gets off the sofa, and the way she walks through, that she's very unhappy about what's happening right now. And you, at the same time, you also get annoyed. So you say, look, I have a tiring day, I've managed this bloody boss and everything, and she's been watching television the whole day, and I come in to, just because there is some cricket match, I come in and change the channel. She gets, she doesn't understand, and she just goes out of the room. So that's a very good situation where emotions are high. Stakes, possibly, you love cricket, and you don't respect possibly what the other person watches, and things to go smoothly would be at. So what happens is you possibly call her back, or maybe, okay, you guys don't understand what I'm going through. So here is it, you want to watch television. So, you change it into these, drama back, and then you possibly, go back wherever you want. You possibly believe that, okay, things are fine. You come back for dinner, and still the thing continues a little bit. And you say, possibly, sorry, no, next time I won't. Possibly change the channel. It's just that cricket was there. You might have conversations on whether to watch cricket or possibly, watch a drama. So you possibly agree on that you won't change the channel because that's what you believe that was annoying her.
True.
Most times you need to know where you're actually stuck. What is the real issue? So the issue here is it the change of the channel is issue, or is there something deeper? One of the things which I keep sharing, I mean, the true issues which has happened when I used to take sessions is, in manufacturing, we've been exposed to a lot of 5S.
Correct.
Keeping things in order. This is how you're supposed to keep, don't keep, this is how you put the bins there, this, that. So your bosses have tuned you so much that when you walk back home, you expect your home also to be in 5S. And as a result, what happens is, when you walk inside the home, you see things not in order, you get irritated. Because the boss has possibly shown the irritation on you. You tend to possibly carry that over here. And then here you possibly think you are the boss without possibly, and then the irritation starts. So what is annoying her is the moment you enter, because she's waiting the whole day. The moment you enter, you're entering with a frown. And you're entering not with a smile. And that is what her expectation is. And then you come in and change the channel. So it's not more about the channel. It's more about the way you enter home.
True.
And when you've possibly had these conversations in the past of keeping things in order, I mean, she's possibly told you, but it doesn't hit you. Because you think that's a way of life. So how do you possibly separate things and work around? So one is to understand that you're stuck. And two is, where are you really stuck?
Stuck. Perfect.
And you need to have conversations the moment you understand where you're really stuck on that area and not on the surface. Surface is quite easy and it will possibly get away, pretty temporarily. But then again, this will come back to haunt you. So you need to know that things are getting crucial, but where? Can I understand the real problem? Can I have a conversations over there? That is where the whole thing comes across.
True, true. So that means we are stuck. So we need to understand where are we stuck here. In fact, the customer, one of the important customer is our spouse. And that's the example which I feel you're giving. And it's a very, very lively example which you have shared as how do we, in fact, what are the cues which should not be doing? So as rightly told, with the frown face is what when we enter, and the smiling face we enter home after a long hours of work makes a huge difference. Excellently shared. Wonderful, Mr. Pandian. So far, we have taken up 3 questions in making us understand about what are situations and different situations where crucial conversations generally happen and how do we really take it up. So I will definitely get back to you in a couple of minutes. We'll just take a quick quiz currently, and we'll ask all our members as well as the guests who are visitors who are here today. And the quiz is what we're going to ask them. Let's see who's coming out with the right answers and make it more interactive as well.
Sure.
So members as well as the visitors who are here for the first time. So what I'm going to do now is quickly ask a quiz question on what all the points which our guest, Mr. Pandian Paranipan, has shared with us. So stay tuned, be live. It's more of typing it quickly on the chat box. So fastest fingers first. So let me tell you what you get, or maybe what last week's winner also is there. So last week's winner is Mr. Shankar Lal, and he has got the Mask Leadership 360-degree assessment as complimentary. So definitely, the person who's going to give me the right answer is also going to get this week the Mask Leadership 360-degree assessment completely complimentary for you. So if you wish to get, keep your fastest fingers first. And the question is very simple. At the starting of the program itself, Mr. Pandian Paranipan has shared there are 3 phases which we need to identify as when is a crucial conversation all about. There are 3 ways or 3 things which are shared. So what are the 3? We can just quickly type in the chat box and let me see who is actually getting the right answer on the chat box, the 3. So what are the 3 points which you shared? How will I identify whether it is situations which is making this a crucial? So I'm yet to receive the answers. Oh, I'm yet to see one opinion is here. Yeah. I'm waiting for the answers. Members as well as the uh, visitors while for the first time. Was that a very difficult question to ask? If so, oh yeah, I'm able to receive an answer. Emotions, takes, and opposing views, which Mr. DVS Panindra has in fact shared it right. Am I right, Mr. Pandian? Those are the 3 points, or opinions, emotions, and
Absolutely,
takes,
absolutely. Perfect, perfect.
which Mr. Money also shares again later. And Dinesh talks about emotions and fear. But let's go ahead with Mr. Fanindra, who has shared it right. Congratulations, Fanindra. You have nailed it to the point in identifying the crucial conversations, which is the 3 phases, which talks about when the stakes are high or when you are deal under crucial conversations. One is emotion, and when the stakes are high, and when there are opposing views from the partners. Great. So, Mr. Panindra, congratulations once again. All the members as well as the visitors, kindly type congratulations DVS. So, we're going to make it very simple. So, congratulations DVS. Kindly type congratulations DVS and let's encourage him. So, Mr. DVS Panindra, we would like to see you and kindly turn on your camera and unmute yourself. We'll also unmute you. We'll give you the permission to do so. So, Mr. Panindra, are you able to listen to us? Kindly unmute yourself, please.
Yes, I'm able to listen to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's audible.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for sharing such.
Yes, Mr. Davis Panindra, I believe.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it's audible now. Please proceed.
Yeah, at my workplace also, I also go through the same thing. And when you said the 3 points, they were actually right to the point. So that's why I could come back with that quick answer. Yeah.
Great. Good, Panindra. Panindra, if you'd like to know more about you, so even the members as well as the visitors will also know about you. May I know where are you working, Mr. Panindra?
Yeah, I am working in Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and I'm also doing my PhD there. In fact, I joined as a PhD student and then I became an employee. And I'm working on development of new type of instruments for observing the stars, planets, and stuff like that. Main work is on sun. My main instrument development is related to solar physics.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
That's a short.
Good to know, Mr. Panindra. It's very nice. In fact, you are doing such excellent contribution which you've been making, in fact, to society as well. So once again, congratulations, Panindra, for receiving it. Please do stay in touch with me, and we will be sharing with you with our 360-degree assessment for the visitors. Here, 360-degree assessment is very simple. There are 15 leadership competencies where you can request your superior, subordinate, your peers and colleagues, and get to know where do you stand on the 15 leadership competencies, which helps you with a clear-cut report where you need to really constantly grow as a leader. So, Panindra, you have received that. Great. And we will stay in touch with you on the same.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Panindra, since that you have answered the right question, given the answer correctly, so you get an opportunity to ask a question to our guest, Mr. Pandit Parniyappan. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask him.
Yes, so it is the straight thing. I mean, like, how do you handle that situation? So you already told count 10, something like that, something related like this. So what are the other strategies that you adapt to overcome this kind of a situation?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll more, focus on a structured answer, which will be there. So when you have a crucial conversation, one of the things when your emotions kick in, a lot of the things, the work happens on yourself, because one is, you start seeing that I'm okay, the other person is not okay. You possibly start villainizing the other person, because since they don't agree to you, stakes are very high, so you try to villainize the other person. So a very key question one need to ask yourself is, one is, you need to be in an awareness level, get your emotions down and ask yourself, every person is, most people are good. There's nothing like, everybody around me are bad. So I need to humanize the other person. Why would a logical and, a reasonable person behave the way they're behaving? There could be something, some information which I'm missing out on. That once that acceptance starts kicking in, we are open to listening to the other person. Because once you also start doubting that there could be some information which I'm actually missing on, which is possibly making me feel, making me villainize the other person. This person is always good. I mean, suddenly he's turning off. There's something which, which I don't know, which a person knows, which is making him behave the way it's currently right now. So the key question which I need to possibly do is humanize the other person, because most times when you're in a crucial conversation, you possibly villainize the other person. So can I possibly humanize the other person and then come out with various logical, thoughts of it, which will give me some structured view. I mean, I can share an example here.
Yeah.
This was, I was actually, when I was handling a very similar session, which is respond, don't react. And this was when a couple were, was in my session, and we were asking them to list down one situation which annoys you quite often, which is coming back and back again and again, and you don't have a solution. So this couple came back and said, "Hey, look, this was when I was working in Wipro. I mean, almost about close to more than a decade back." This couple said, "Look, wherever we go back home, we find a bike parked in our parking lot on the side, but it's inside our lane. So what happens is, we can park our car, but we can't get out of our car, and that annoys us every day. This is an issue. So this gentleman gets down, pulls the bike with a lot of anger on the other side, puts it down, and then he parks the car, and then they go back home, and they have dinner, late night dinner, and then they again back to work, and that's quite annoying. So what is happening is, so I asked him, how do you feel? What do you have to talk about the other guy? He said, look, this guy is a stupid guy. Doesn't he understand? It's clearly earmarked, clearly marked over there with yellow lines, with the, block number. And still the guy parks it every day, what kind of thing? Now we actually asked them, okay, can you humanize the other person? Why are you villainizing? So they started thinking, okay, maybe, he's not aware that, this is a parking lot. Maybe he has a confusion between his parking lot and our parking lot. Maybe this parking lot, he always sees it as empty because we come in late, and we go off early. So he possibly thinks this parking lot is an empty lot, and as a result, he's parking it. So they started humanizing the whole thing, and when they started humanizing, they started figuring out what are the different ways we could communicate with the other guy that this is our parking lot, because that was the missing piece. So they decided that, they took a post-it note, the yellow post-it note, and they wrote down, dear, bike owner, with a bike name, and, we always see that this bike has been parked in our parking lot, we come in late, and it's really frustrating. So they stuck it on, on the bike, on the headline. And next day morning, to their surprise, they had another post-it note stuck onto the windshield of the car, with a big apology note saying that I was not aware, I always thought this was an empty one, so I parked it here. Henceforth, I wouldn't be a distraction, to your parking, sorry for all that, And he actually mentioned his phone number and, his house number over there. There ends the story. They're going through a series of frustrations for, almost months together by villainizing the other person. So when you are emotional and when you're possibly thinking in a crucial conversation, most times we villainize the other person. So the key is, can I, look into the human perspective? Doubt yourself that I am a human, I agree. Others are also humans. And possibly they could be making it could be an error, could be out of possibly unknowingly, not intentionally. The moment we start looking into from that perspective, the crucial conversation scenario becomes so safe for you. Your logical brain starts working. Your reptilian brain is no more at work, and you are less at stress.
True.
And parking issues are there, in most societies.
Yes.
So humanize the other person. That's the first, step which I would possibly say to enter into crucial conversation, which is like start with a heart. Start with a big heart. humanize the other person, and then get into the conversation, because only then your logical brain will start working, and then you'll get various options of possibly solving this issue, and then you'll be able to get into that. Hope I'm possibly sharing some thoughts which would possibly help you in your.
Definitely, that was an excellent answer. In fact, I believe, Fanindra, you got the answer, in fact, which is sharing it as two. One is humanize or villainize. So if you really have to handle a better crucial conversation, that was a very nice quote which I told, that all human beings are good. That's excellently told. All human beings are good, and we need to humanize people and accept them. Then automatically we are having the capabilities to really handle people. Great. And one more, in fact, you told, in fact, it's called react and respond, which is very nice, in fact, that you shared, as we need to respond to people rather than reacting. That's wonderfully shared. Great, Mr. Pandian. So, members as well as the visitors who are in here for the first time. So, if you have any questions now to ask Mr. Pandian, it is open now for us to ask. You can either choose two options. One, you can either raise your hand and we will unmute you so you can ask them directly the question to Mr. Pandian, or if you feel that you want to write in the chat box about the question, and then you can also write in the chat box, and Mr. Pandian will be happy to share with you. So you can share your challenging situations as well, and how do you want the answers to come? Definitely Mr. Pandian is here to help us, in fact. So let me see if we have any hands raised, or if you also have any questions on the chat box. So we are going to wait. In the meantime, when it comes, I also have one more question, Mr. Pandian. So let me ask you this particular question. So people, in the meantime, if you want to raise your hand, and I'll give you an opportunity. Yeah, I believe Ms. Sujata Suresh has raised a hand. Okay, Ms. Sujata, I will unmute you. You can go ahead to interact and ask your question to Mr. Pandian. Yes, Ms. Sujata, please go ahead. Ms. Sujata, is it possible to unmute yourself?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah. Kindly unmute yourself once again, Ms. Sujata.
Audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Pandian, and thank you, Prakash Ji, for this. Sir, I'm actually going to take a small anecdote from a small clipping from a movie of Harry Potter. I don't know the name of the movie and which name it is, but in this, they go back to that moment, and they relive that moment and set it right. Okay. That's a beautiful one. When you're talking of, I was able to remember that thing came to my mind, that we actually revisit a moment where there is a regular pattern of something's happening, and then set it right. Would you like to throw more light on this, or probably bring a structure? You're phenomenal in bringing a structure to something. It's very nice. I'm observing that. Where we lose emotions, because when we are in emotions, we are able to advise others well. But as an individual, when I'm upset and, or this is a repetitive pattern, how do I address? Over to you, sir.
Yeah. I think very well said. You need to go back and search for, so what happens is, why do emotions kick in? So you've possibly, seen something or heard something, and based on that fact, you start having your own stories. And that story is a culprit which kicks in an emotion. For example, I use the example in the programs is, it's a rainy night, and it's been fairly pouring quite high, and you take your car out to pick up some medicines in the nearby. It's not a large mall. It's just a small mall which has about 4 car parks, and you rush in and to just pick up the medicine. So what happens is, you look out for a parking lot, and you find that there is one parking lot. There are 2 parking lots which is free, but it's been parked across by a car across, which means that you can't park your car. But in reality, if the guy is parked it fairly well, you could actually park in. And it's quite, it's raining. And at that point of time, you see this guy parked across where lines are clearly marked that you have to park it this way, but here is a guy who's parked it just across, and it's raining. So what is the emotion one goes in? Most people tend to say, angry, what useless buggers, and this is what useless. But they think that if they buy a car, they can park everywhere, So you go through several emotions. So what happens in that scenario is, you've seen a car park across, which could have been parked, rightly, which could have allowed you to park and possibly get inside the shop. So the moment you see the car parked across, and you know that you can't park your car there, you'll have to go find out a place which is outside, and it's raining, and it's going to get a little muddy over there. So what happens is, you see something, and then you tell a story. First, these guys think to no end of them, and especially, let's say that was a little luxury car. So these guys think no end of themselves just because they have papa's money, this, that. So you have several stories which goes in, and that story kicks in an emotion, and that is what leads into possibly a silence or a violence. And when I've asked people this question, what will you do? So there are guys who have said, I'll go parallelly park it across in such a way that guy can't take the car out. So several ways to possibly vent your frustration. Is that going to help you? Because so that's where you need to ask the question, what is my objective? My objective is to go get the medicine.
Yeah.
If I possibly park the car parallelly, is that going to help me to possibly go and pick up the medicine and then go back? No. So one is, I need to know where I'm stuck. Two is, I need to know, am I doing things which is really helping me to be closer to my objective?
Right.
Third, as we were talking earlier, can I humanize the other person?
Yes.
They could be possibly done it intentionally. Even if done intentionally, you get emotional about it. The damage is more for you mentally, as well as it hits you physically. You get frustrated quite often. It actually hurts you physically also. So from that perspective, give the benefit of doubt to the other guy. Humanize the other person. There could be something which is so urgent that the guy is left. I mean, most people don't do it. This guy has done it for some reason, and then possibly, you possibly find a, a way out. Try to park your car somewhere, get inside, and then move on in life. Rather than building that, we have the butterfly effect. One emotion getting to another and another, and then so that's where you end up possibly being branded that guy is always angry. So your question, Sujata's question in terms of revisiting, yes, where does it come from? What you see and hear, but you decide what is the story which I'm going to say. So the story which I'm going to say is a human story, not a villain story. The moment I say a human story, my emotions are totally different. And that's where, then I act accordingly. So revisiting is very, very important. And when you revisit, don't revisit the story, revisit the fact. So this guy has parked the car this way. Fine. And then maybe humanize.
True.
And the real part of the story is, so this guy somehow parks the car and then gets inside over there and finds that there's a guy really trying to call the nearby ambulance. And then you realize possibly this is a guy who's possibly tried to doing something for an accident which has happened close by, and God knows he's not able to possibly call from his mobile or for some reason. But that this guy is lost himself obviously, but for a good cause. So you possibly feel, hey, okay. I think you possibly feel bad about your emotions which you went through. Sometimes if you park your car parallelly, then you might possibly quietly go across and remove your car, and then hey, save yourself from that guilt of yours to get into it. So revisiting is important, but revisit the fact, not the story. You'll have to erase that story, revisit the fact, and that will help you to move into a conversation with, which would possibly help both parties.
Excellent.
Am I?
Yes, definitely, Mr. Pandyan, that excellently shared. Creating a human story is more necessary, is what you share, and that's really, in fact, helps us cool our emotions, and that's when we'll be able to handle the situations as well. An excellent example also shared. The car parking has been your favorite, I understand, and there's a lot of
Yeah, I think I
experiences.
shared 2 examples of the car park. Yeah.
Wonderfully shared, sir. Great. So I believe in Sujata, you have received the answer. Thanks very much for the your comment in the chat box as well. So visitors as well as the guests, as well as the members. So quickly, I'll just take you through a summary of what all we have discussed so far, so that it helps us in understanding more and what we have learned today or understood today from Mr. Pandit Paranipal. Let's go back to apply and implement, which is very, very necessary. So I would like to take you through our mask leadership model, in fact, which is there here. You're able to see behind on my virtual background. So the mask leadership is all about the 5 leadership elements. Elements of leadership is what we call. We've had the PH, which is called the productive habits. We have the UH, which is called the unproductive habits. We have skills for a human being, which is required as a leader, and we have positive feelings as a leader and as a negative feelings as a leader, which these are the 5 basic elements as a true leader. And when we are able to understand these 5 basic elements is where you really as a leader move towards the constant growth. And today's topic and discussion, which Mr. Pandit Paranipal has shared, is one was a skill which we need to possess, as how do we converse when we possess negative feelings. And that's where we're talking about one of the negative feelings, which we need to be very clear. We should be aware about our negative feelings, and which is started off really great. That's when the crucial conversation talks about when the stakes are high, when we are emotional, as well as when other person is opposing your views. And it's from there is where we moved, in fact, to understand how do we really manage our negative feelings and what skill we need to possess, is where he moved on, giving us an excellent example of what we need to do. So one was the humanize or villainize. That was really great. Another is react or respond. That is also nice, which is, these are the excellent words which I am able to quickly remember. And in fact, the starting what you told was either you become violent or silent. So these are some of the cues we are able to understand as for a leader as a constant growth. We know now what we need to go back to demonstrate. Let's take up those steps to demonstrate. All right. So I'm sure this learnings which we have got today, let's go back, type it in our Telegram group. And for the visitors who have come here for the first time on this platform, let me explain you. Every week, Wednesday, we invite top management leaders from a corporate company for our community members here at from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m., where they share their success stories and live experiences, which we are able to understand the mindset of how a top management leader operates and how they really manage real-time situations, so that we also are able to constantly grow. I'm sure every individual has an ability to constantly grow as a leader, and we all are leaders, and it's just a matter of constant growth. So that's what we have been doing it here in the platform, and we are on the episode 017, and this episode is continuing. So thanks very much for being in here. Please do write all your learnings on the respective Telegram group. And for the visitors who are in for the first time, if you wish to join us, please feel free to contact us on my mobile number, which is there shared on the chat box. Now you'll be able to see where on the mobile number you can ping us, and we will be able to add you to our Telegram group, where you'll be getting constant communication about our Leaders Connect episode week after week. And for more information about the mass leadership, please stay tuned to our website, which you're also able to see on the chat box, where our team members will share it with you. So without much delay, let me introduce you also to our next week's guest or next week's speaker, who is also a renowned person in the industry. So today, how we had, in fact, Mr. Pandit Paranipal from Hyundai Motors, who has come to us. We also have the next week, our speaker is Mr. Yadu Girish, who is the General Manager HR of Organizational OD, which is called Organizational Development, from Ashok Leyland Limited. So he's going to help us on the power of communication. In power of communication, we're going more deeper as part of how powerful is questioning going to be helping you as leaders. As leaders, do we need to know how questioning techniques helps us? Do we need to be more powerful people in terms of asking questions, or should we keep on giving answers? And that is one of the important elements, in fact, which Mr. Yadu Girish is going to help us out in understanding his practical life scenarios, how questioning techniques helps him to make him a powerful leader. And stay tuned the next week. So we also have the next week's link on the chat box right away. Currently, you'll be able to see on the chat box. So feel free to log in, and we can also register immediately, else we'll also be sending it to you once again. So that's been excellent, great, in fact, message, Mr. Pandian, sharing across your views and live experiences about the topic today, which is the crucial conversation. It's been nice interacting. What's one last message before we close for the day, Mr. Pandian? What is the one message you want to give to our community members here, as well as the visitors who are visiting here in our community?
Humanize. Look at every person as a human. I mean, that's what I would possibly look at.
That's a one word, excellently told, humanize, which is really impacting me today. I'm going to start looking at people, every human being, as a humanize first rather than villainize them. So humanize is one word which I really take it up for today, and I'll definitely apply that. So thanks very much, Mr. Pandian. Thank you all the visitors as well as the members and the guests who are present here today. Last but not the least, always we end with a thanking video, and it will be a pleasure to share the thanking video to thank one and all being here on this community platform today. So here's the thanking video for all. So thank you one and all being here again. It's been really great. And thank you very much, Mr. Pandian sir. It's been a nice honor that you have come here and interacting with us in the community.
Thank you. Thanks,
Have a nice
thanks a
evening.
lot. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice evening. Thank you.